Hola, my friends. Welcome back to A Life I Choose, the place to be to design your life so you can thrive. Last week's video was a husband and wife tag of me and my hubby, and we asked each other questions. And I want to thank you because you guys responded so well to that video, and we got more likes and more subscribers, and also lots of feedback. And your feedback was really touching. Like, a lot of you said, like, what a sweet couple we are, like that you really enjoyed it, you enjoyed the honesty. What really stayed with me a lot was people saying, wow, it showed that you put a lot of energy into your relationship. Today's video is about that. It's about the energy that we bring to our relationships. A lot of us have this idea that relationships are just supposed to go smoothly. It's just supposed to work. We meet someone, we fall in love, it goes well, and then if things start to go sour or we lose our passion for each other, then oh my God, maybe we don't fit, or maybe, we're not supposed to be together. And this can have, really damaging effects, because it could mean that we give up way too early, and can also mean that we end up dissatisfied in our relationships, when in reality there is a way to boost them and keep nourishing them and keep enjoying them. And the reason I wanted to make this video today is to speak about the ways that you can keep growing through these challenging times, because the challenging times are going to come. Okay, like if you think about it on an individual level, we all go through these challenging times, like we can experience periods of depression or anxiety or a lot of self-doubt. And this is 100% normal. We all go through these times. And the thing is, when we allow ourselves to stay with the discomfort of the time, okay, to really understand what are these emotions telling me, then we can take action and we can choose to grow in the direction that we need to grow in a way that's nourishing for ourselves. Now imagine one person, okay? So that's one person going through their sort of the difficult times, dismantling, and then kind of coming back together and growing. Now imagine two people doing this at different rates, with different needs. We start off with these needs and we find a way to be together and it's good. And then we reassemble and, one of you suddenly has different needs and this person's like, oh, whoa, I don't know what's happening here. I never signed up for this. And then it's like you reassemble and blah, blah, blah. And, there's a lot of like growth spurts. And sometimes we grow at different rates and sometimes we grow apart. So what's really important in relationships is developing a safe base. Because growth is a fundamental human need. We all need to grow. And what happens is that sometimes we fear our partners growing because it means that they could expand beyond us. They could end up leaving us. And that causes us to act out in different ways. And sometimes we try to keep them down purely out of fear. The thing is that when we try to stop our partners from growing, we end up making our relationship stagnant, and anything that's stagnant is going to become not good, and it's going to eventually die. So it's very important that we keep growing. Now with growth, there is the risk that we can grow apart. That's completely normal. What needs to happen is a sort of movement in, a movement out, a movement in, a movement out, a movement in, a movement out. So I'm going to give you 5 tips on how to do this. And basically what I want you to think about, all these 5 tips are speaking about creating a safe base. Because in order for you to grow as a couple and to allow each other to grow as individuals, your base, the thing that keeps you together, your core, needs to be safe. It needs to be solid. When your core is solid, then you can venture out into the world and you can be who you want to be. You can be authentic, you can take risk, because you know that you can come home and it's safe there. Doesn't mean it's perfect there, but it's safe. So my first tip is be all in. So very often when we're going through challenges with our partners, we can end up thinking like, oh, the problem's with them. Like, they need to change, they don't get it, they're fucked up, there's something wrong with them. And we stay in this very sort of self-righteous space, like, fuck you, like, kind of, you change, and when you change, I'll come around. This never works, because 1, whenever we try to force someone to change, they resist it. And 2, the only way that somebody is gonna start to shift, okay, that your partner is gonna start to shift, is if you are all in, if you bring your presence, if you commit fully. You can't expect your partner to commit fully if you are not fully committed. You can't expect your partner to be present and to put you first if you're not present and you don't put them first. Your partner needs to be your number 1 priority. And this is the way that it will keep growing. 2, you need to learn how to process your difficult emotions. So difficult emotions like anger, jealousy, anxiety, fear, those emotions that make us very, very uncomfortable. Emotions are like an internal compass. They let us know how to respond to our environment. And the thing is about emotions, it's not that you feel it and you need to respond automatically. It's just that you feel the emotion and it's telling you something about yourself in relation to the environment. So for example, if you feel jealousy, okay, let's say your partner speaks to somebody else, or your partner speaks to somebody in their family, and you feel jealousy, then you know that you have a fear around losing your partner to that person. You fear that there's more loyalty to that person than there is to you. And this could be a reflection of your own feelings of I am not enough. I am not enough to deserve their love. I am not enough to deserve their attention and whatever. So it's really important to decode your emotions. Try to understand what they're telling you about yourself in relation to your environment. Because if you don't understand your emotions, then you will just react to them. Either that, or you'll just suppress. And if you suppress, then you're turning yourself numb, which means you are not alive to your relationship. You are not engaging. You are not allowing your partner to see you. And if you're reacting, then you're probably blaming, you're shifting blame, and you're just creating a very sort of uncomfortable, sort of toxic environment. Okay, so it's really important that you take the time to learn how to process your emotions. So obviously therapy is fantastic for this, so I definitely suggest therapy for this. A good book is Emotional Agility by Susan David. Another thing that you can do is practice mindfulness, which helps you to see the emotion and not have to respond straight away. It creates space. So instead of emotion, reaction, you have emotion, space, choice. Okay, now I choose this or I choose that, whatever. So you can choose like a reaction that's more nourishing for your relationship. Tip number 3 is to educate yourself on how to communicate with each other. So when we go through these challenging times as a couple, okay, we're going through growing pains. I like to call it growing pains. What's happening is like our core, that safety, is being challenged because you're kind of like two puzzle pieces, okay? And it's like you used to fit together, you used to fit perfectly, but now like one of you's grown in one way and you've grown in another way. And some parts are still fitting, but some parts are just like, I don't know if we can get together again. I don't really know how to be like kind of thing with you. In fact, maybe you irritate me or whatever, kind of you feel like you need to repel to keep growing, or you feel like you need to keep the other. It depends. We all have different reactions. So it's really important to just see it for what it is and not make it into something bigger. These are growing pains, okay? It doesn't mean that we're doomed. It doesn't mean that we're not meant to be together. They're just growing pains and they're 100% normal. There is no couple who doesn't go through this stuff. And what I want to say about you right now, the fact that you're watching this shows that you are a person who wants to face this stuff head on. You want to grow through it instead of avoiding it. And what happens is that most people avoid it. But when we avoid it, we become stagnant, our relationships don't grow, and we become dissatisfied, we become bored with each other, and we start seeking excitement elsewhere, whether this be through other relationships or whether it be through sort of disengaging because, going there is just it's not alive, it's a bit dead kind of thing. The fact that you're watching this video, like, I congratulate you because it shows me that you are a person that wants to grow. This is awesome. So it's very important that you understand that these are just growing pains. And yes, they do throw us into fight or flight sometimes. And this is normal. And it's very helpful to understand our patterns. So how do you usually respond when you're in fight or flight? Are you a person who pushes away? Or are you a person who tries to grab the other and try to say, give me an answer now, give me an answer now? A really helpful book for this is Hold Me Tight by Sue Johnson. She speaks about the patterns that couples can get locked into, can get stuck in, these ways of responding to each other that are not helpful, but they're ways of responding that we've learned in childhood That worked for us, for the most part. But now they're not allowing us to communicate what we need in a way that is serving our needs. They're just reactive. They're just, going with the emotion. What we need to do is learn to understand, what is my emotion telling me? Like, what do I need? What do I need? And how can I meet that need? And is this my partner's responsibility, or is it not? Is it my responsibility? And how do I choose to respond to the situation now that I have awareness? How can I approach my partner with more compassion and more love? When you understand yourself, when you understand your emotions and what they're telling you, and when you understand what you want from life and where you want to grow, then it's much easier for you to communicate your needs to your partner. If you don't have self-awareness, if you don't practice self-awareness, because it's not something you have or you don't, it's a constant practice. If you don't practice self-awareness, then you don't know what you want, what you need to feel fulfilled. And you will experience a lot of frustration. You will experience a lot of anger. And you will end up treating the people around you badly. You will end up dumping your emotions on them. And this is not okay. Learning to understand where you are and what you need helps you to communicate this to your partner. My next tip is to work on your mindset. And this is to shift your mindset from one of lack to one of gratitude. So what happens when we're going through these challenging times where our core is being challenged, what happens sometimes is we can look at our relationships through the lens of lack. Okay, so we are not enough. We are not a good couple. We suck. We have so many problems, or you have so many problems, or you suck, or you are inadequate, or there's something wrong with you. You need to be better. When we look at anything through this lens, when we look at ourselves, when we look at our partners, we cannot grow. Because essentially what we're saying is, it's not safe, this is not good enough, this is not okay. To be able to shift your mindset, you need to start to practice gratitude. And I know it sounds airy-fairy, and I know that it can sound ridiculous, but honestly, gratitude is everything. If you don't have gratitude, you have nothing. You can be a millionaire, and if you're not grateful for what you have, you're poor. You're fucking poor. You can have a family, beautiful children, you can have a beautiful home. If you don't have gratitude for what you have nothing. Gratitude is everything. And when you can shift your mindset from I am not enough, or this is not enough, or we are not enough, to I am so grateful for what we have. I am so grateful that we can go through challenging times and still be together and still have love for each other and respect. I am so grateful that we can question whether we are going to be together forever, and at the same time still love each other and still nourish our relationship and enjoy time together. It changes. The game changes, and you bring a better side of yourself. You bring this more respectful side of yourself forward. There are some tools for practicing gratitude. This is a tool that I like a lot. It's called the 5-minute journal. And what you do is every morning you write down 3 things you're grateful for. And slowly through mindset, you go from thinking about 3 things you're grateful for, and the longer you do it and more consistent, you find that you become grateful for so many more things. And you become grateful for even the most basic things, like a hot shower, a cup of tea. And my last tip is to make it fun. At the beginning is really fun, it's full of variety, you don't really know each other, and it's easy to stay excited. And then you're together for a few years and you start to share responsibilities together, you choose to build a life together, and things start to get serious and things start to become a bit boring, the routine, right? And this is when it can start to lose the spice. Just imagine if your life together is very mundane, it's very routine, there's no excitement, there's no variety, and then at the same time you're going through this challenging period where you're thinking, do we still fit together? I don't know. That's a very difficult place to be. So it's really, really important to keep your relationship fun, and you need to schedule fun, right? You can't just wait for inspiration to take you. It's like, sometimes when people speak about writing a book, they're like, I want to write a book, but I'm waiting for the inspiration. No, fuck that. Don't wait for the inspiration. Schedule it. Schedule 5 hours a week, spread it out throughout your week. And for those 5 hours, you do nothing but write. Fun is the same, you know, it's like sex. Some people think, oh, sex should just happen. Yeah, okay, so put all your kids to bed at 8 o'clock in the evening or 9 o'clock in the evening or whatever, and you're exhausted and you've been dealing with work and a, you know, a stressed out mom and a stressed out partner, and then tell me you want to have sex. Like, fuck off. Like, it's not going to work. You need to schedule it. Schedule fun. Make time for fun. Prioritize it. So some tips: schedule surprise date nights. Take it in turns to take each other out on a surprise date. Another thing you can do is schedule sexy time. Say like, okay, Sunday evening or Friday night or, you know, Monday morning when the nanny takes the kids out for a walk or whatever. Like, just schedule some time that is for you. And it doesn't necessarily have to be time that you have sex, but it's time for both of you to be together, to be intimate. You need to prioritize relationship. Remember, tip number 1 is be all in. Okay? If you treat your relationship like an afterthought, like it comes after everything else, then your relationship will function from that place. It is not going to be fulfilling. It is not going to be exciting. Your relationship needs to be your number 1 priority, which doesn't mean you throw everything else to the side. You still make everything else function. It's just that it needs to be the place that you go to fill up. The quality of our relationships define the quality of our lives. So if you treat your relationships like shit, you're going to have a shitty life. So if you want to experience a fun life, a nourishing life, you need to nourish your relationships. Okay guys, so thank you for tuning into this video. I appreciate your attention, especially if you're still here. And if you're still here, I want to ask you to please give this video a like if you enjoyed it. And if you found it valuable, then remember, sharing is caring. So please share this with anyone you want to share it with. And also subscribe for more videos, to be notified of more videos. I'm sending you love and I wish you a good day. Peace. Bye.